Unchurned is presented by UpdateAI.
We're moving away from a full stack CSM.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Like, if you haven't already
disagree.
started.
We're not ready for that in this society.
No.
And what do you guys think is going to be the trigger for this?
I think you're wrong.
We're going to uninvite
Mickey, you're
Mickey to come
fired.
back in 2024.
That's right. Let the lesson be learned that they don't like people disagreeing with them. Yeah, why isn't the intro song from John?
You guys can't afford me.
Whoa. I can't
That's
afford
true.
him. I would love for John to write my intro music for something, but I can't afford that.
Kristi, I actually have this little intro
What do you
ditty that I wrote for a project that we tried about a year ago. I'll send it to you. And
Did it
it's fair
fail because
game.
of the ditty?
No. No.
If we were to write a theme song for Kristi, what would it be?
Ooh.
The best
I ever had.
That's it.
Sounds
Just
like
the
something my
best.
ex-boyfriends would be singing.
Mine too. Wait.
Wow.
Um,
That didn't
John,
work.
That didn't work away.
John, what would
Wait,
be your
that came
bill
out
rate?
wrong.
If we wanted to hire you to write the theme song, the jingle for CSMBS, how much would we have to pay you?
The problem is it's not a money thing. It's an emotional competency thing.
What does that mean?
I am really sensitive about my music. I'm really personally, even if it's just somebody pays me to do something and I deliver it, I really struggle if somebody's like, oh, fuck this, next. You know what I mean? And Josh, I've learned your personality very well. And I would send you 10 MP3s and you would blow through them in 30 seconds and be like, no, give me something else. And I actually have the same conversations with the publishing group that I work with because I do spec work for film and TV, right? And I send these really heartfelt things. And this guy is like, nope. I'm just like, oh, ow, ouch, ooh.
What if
Right?
I promise you? What if I promise you that?
Don't make promises
We
you
would
can't
go.
keep, Josh.
Well, that's true.
I know.
That's true.
Josh is like,
True.
the first one you send me, I'll just use whatever you send me. Just one and done. And then Josh will just be
It's like-
miserable every time he hears it play. He'll just
No.
cringe.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that. Josh wouldn't use it because
Yeah, I think
Josh
one of the
does have high
things
standards, and that's a
he
good
does.
thing.
No,
Josh
and I
has
don't.
high
I actually don't.
standards.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think what I've noticed is that type of drive tends to deliver faster. And I personally, as a creative, I need to have a motivation outside of somebody else's drive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I have a moment where I'm like this, it would have to be, hey, when I get it done, when I have a moment. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
fine.
It can't be.
So
Yeah.
That sounds
Can
like
you
a
do
song.
it in 2024?
That's
What
the
are the
second
three
song on
words
the
that
album.
you would use?
20 and 20.
No, like December 31st, 2024.
What's the
Can we get it
three
done by then?
words that you would describe that you would want this intro to?
Oh, this
to
is
fit
already
under?
too much work.
This is why
Family.
I use ChatGPT, folks. Family's a good one.
Family,
Family
I
is a
like
good
that.
one.
That's good.
Family,
All right,
I think family means a lot to all of us, right?
it does. Yeah. What else? Morose,
Morose.
because I write really sad.
Crass.
Look at-
Crass.
Crass.
Look at
Okay, just
look at this.
Have you heard
Okay, I'm
my
gonna
"Fuck You,
curse.
Donald Trump" song? You haven't,
Yeah.
have you?
Look at these morose motherfuckers.
You wrote a
Oh.
Trump
here.
song?
Oh, I wrote the best. It got a little bit of trendy on
We're
TikTok.
not getting political on this episode.
No,
No,
it's
we're
just a
not,
beautiful.
but
I'm
wait,
actually
can
talking
you
about his
maybe just
acting
text it
career
to me later?
personally. Yes,
I
it's
do need
it's
to
a
listen
30
to it.
second. It's
He
actually
was an actor? Outside
Yeah.
of Home Alone 2?
yeah. He's the star of Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
That's right.
He's still
He
getting
also
I
had a
royalties.
mean,
by the way.
reality-
does he? I mean,
Yeah.
listen, every time during the holidays right now, he's just rolling in dough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
rolling in those. What the
Royalty
what's
checks.
that station that plays Christmas music? Is it TMC?
Yeah.
Like all those
106.7?
TMZ residuals.
Yeah.
No.
I'll
You're
send it
doing
to you,
Lifetime?
Christy. It's pretty great. It was really fun.
Should we
I was very happy
have
about
an
it.
episode today? What's today's episode?
What are we-
Who
we're
are
not
I
just
we?
think
hanging out.
we're episoding right now. What do you mean?
This
Well, we were
sounds
bailed
I
on.
exotic.
We were bailed
suggested-
on.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, we all have businesses to run, right? And sometimes the business things trump the other things.
You're still talking about
Boom.
Trump.
And interesting. Do you know that Trump
Tell
is
us
the
what
first word
happened.
I use in Trump is the first word I use in Wordle every single day.
Wordle every single, just in case. I love
I
that.
have 3 words. I start with Wordle every day. Trump is the first one.
Kristi, tell us about the business emergency. Why Dave couldn't be on the show today?
I need him to finish things that are impacting 2 renewals, 2 very big renewals that I need done by December 31st. And with legal teams and finance teams and everything being out, he needs to prioritize that today. These are big.
I love it. Good. Focus on those
Sorry.
renewals. Oh.
He asked me, he said, is it going to be like, he's like, is it the end of the world if I prioritize this over that? And he had an emotional debate because that's what he does, because he wants to do the right thing all the time. And I said, I would take the heat for this one because I need to prioritize our revenue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I love
There
that.
you go.
So for those
Gotta get
that
that money.
maybe we got ahead of ourselves. For those that were not aware of our private text messages, we were going to invite Dave Blake.
Wait, other people aren't
founder
reading
and
them?
CEO No,
I just
no.
actually have an
post them
RSS
every
feed
day.
to Twitter.
Yeah. I post them
so
All
every
right,
Dave
day.
Josh
Blake-
talk.
Dave Blake, founder and CEO of Client Success, was going to be the guest du jour of the week here, but had an emergency. I wanted to hear all about the origin of Client Success. And
He does
I
want
had
to
a
come
lot
back on in January. He is very excited to do this show because he likes that story so much, and I think it's an important one for folks to hear. So we do
Yeah.
need to get him rescheduled for January. He is very apologetic, but like I said, I made the executive decision that he needed to prioritize those things.
Yeah,
I'm going to make
that's
sure that he has a microphone tent that says David Blake.
It's a microphone flag. It's a microphone flag.
Is it a
It's not a
flag
tent.
or a
It's a
tent?
flag. It's called a
I
flag.
don't know.
So we're heading into 2024. Is this the last episode of the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is,
I
right?
believe it
Because
is.
we're not doing it on Christmas.
Oh
We're not
yeah,
doing it
because
on-
no,
We should
I
totally
love
do
you
it
guys, but
Christmas
Josh
Day.
would record on Christmas.
Yeah.
So should we do like a little unwrapped to 2023 unwrapped and then look into 2024?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, might as
Let's
well.
do it.
Sounds like something I proposed in our text thread.
Well,
Okay,
you did
on
the
the count of
2024
three.
piece. Yeah. So
How
Yeah.
many times did you guys think about quitting this year?
that's a terrible question for
7.
many reasons.
Oh.
Mickey,
More than
you go first.
More than 0. More than 0 times.
That's so let's get this screwed back on right here. And what's been like, let's talk about this is the easy one to think of, like the highs and lows. Well, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
professionally.
We're all headed towards the same cliff here, guys. It's the same.
Uh,
All right,
I'll
I'll go
go.
first. I actually
I'll
have
go
something.
first.
Oh, Mickey, you go first. Mickey, you go first.
no, high professionally was first revenue at UpdateAI. 100%.
Oh,
that's
that's
huge.
cool. That is a big
Yeah.
one.
That's the first time I've ever gone. Actually, sorry, that's not entirely true. I did sell candy bars illegally at my school in 7th grade.
Yes.
Illegally?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do that. yeah.
Yeah, duh.
I'm
How
sorry.
else do you sell
Are
candy bars
Are
in
you allowed
school?
to sell? Yeah, are you allowed to like sell things in
Entrepreneurship. I don't
schools?
know, but supply and demand. If somebody wants something
I know.
and they're willing to pay
The
for
principal,
it.
yeah, the principal tried to shut me down, and I just yelled "free market" at him, and I ran away.
I declare bankruptcy.
I went and found a kid named Adam Smith, and I was like, "Tell him."
Tell him.
No,
Oh, that's good.
Anyway.
Okay, Kristi, you're up.
High for this year?
Yeah. You're well.
My professional high, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna say, can I give 2? Can I give a client success related one, and then can I give like a Kristi Faltorusso one?
Yeah, I was going to
course.
guess that your high was getting the KF mic flag, but
It's a tent.
Well, I mean, it definitely is. It's part of that. It's a flag. So I would say that my client success highlight of this year is CS100, hands down.
Yeah.
This year we were not sure if we were gonna host the event. To be very honest with you, we were watching the market. We weren't sure we'd be able to sell tickets or get sponsorship, and it was a game time decision to do it. And Dave, myself, and a team, we pulled it together. And I would say 70 days. And the event
amazing.
was flawless. And so I would say having that event go as well as it did, from the weather to the food, the attendees, the content, everything, it was flawless. So I would say that was definitely my big client success high. My personal high this year, I think, would be like launching all of my things. Like I launched a course, I launched my new website, I did everything under the Kristi Faltorusso umbrella, some consulting and stuff. So I think just trying to like have a breakthrough year of some of my things around my own brand. Pretty exciting.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Making us all look like bags of shit.
Bunch of chumps over here.
You
I
all
woke
have
up
some
this
more
morning.
time
That's
in the day
cool.
that you should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, we went through a merger and an acquisition, an M and an A, this year. We were acquired, and then we merged with our main competitor in the marketplace. And I think for me, it was really this quarter when like the engines kind of turned over for the first time. I don't know if you've been a part of a merger and acquisition, like there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of opinions and people. And I think we really kind of hit a stride, and it's starting to feel a little bit more like a cohesive unit, which is really helpful to do things and to feel self-confidence, right? And you know, I would like to take 100% of credit for that. It's all because of me. But most importantly, the accounts that my team manages and the things that I'm responsible for have stayed steady and absolutely like rock solid throughout this kind of process. And it's really given me like I think a new perspective on like what stability and revenue looks like. It's a pretty cool learning experience, how to see chaos and kind of like set some motions, expect it, plan for it, and then kind of still continue to deliver what our customers expect.
Personal high for me this year involved chocolate covered shrooms at ACL.
I thought we were
I
doing
did that
professional highs.
in Raleigh. That was a different kind of high. I went to see Big Boy on my mushrooms.
Wrong highs. No, you know what? It would be my personally, it would be my budding relationship with Jess. She hates going by
This
Jessica.
woman.
Yeah,
We love
and
that.
John and Kristi.
We
John
love
and
her.
Kristi were the first of my friends. They were both in New York. We met in Queens, and you guys were the first to meet her and to do my vetting because
And we didn't even scare her away.
No, we both tried to steal her too at the same time.
How so?
Yeah.
We love her. We love her.
Yeah, well, that goes back to John's, his concert tour days. But yes,
no, that's good. Okay, are we going to talk about Lowe's now?
Professionally, for me with UpdateAI, it, like Mickey said, there could be so many sub things from this, but it's just going from 0 to 1. Like we clearly went from 0 to 1 within like this past year, and whether you measure that in revenues or maybe you might measure it in my being named a top 25 CS influencer. That's a joke. It's completely a joke. Nobody's laughing. Nobody. You guys are all. Can we?
No, you froze.
That was supposed to be
froze
really
at the punchline.
Like, you were very like.
You froze at the punchline. Yeah. You like gave this punchline and then you froze, and I was like, I think that was the joke. This is going to be awesome.
I know, but I couldn't tell if it was funny, so I didn't want to laugh. Because if it wasn't funny and I laughed, then it's like, ooh, did I?
And then Josh just like hangs up. He's like, I was telling you my heart.
Yeah.
Okay, give us again. You've got the internet back. What was the joke?
No, yeah, sorry. No. The joke was the joke was the moment's passed. Lowe's, John, why don't you start?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think on top of like everything else, I definitely like had the burnout. I think I'm honestly really, really tired of working in my bedroom and living in my house. And, like I just miss, not that I want 100% return to office, but I just kind of miss being around people, and I miss the purposefulness of getting up in the morning and having commutes. There's a girl that I follow on LinkedIn who's like a big proponent of work from home, like commute baths, where like after work she'll just like go like turn on a candle and just like pretend like she's in traffic. You know what I mean? And just kind of separate work from home, right? Like otherwise
she takes
you're just
the time that she would otherwise be commuting. And
she's
she takes
not
that
in the
time
car
to do something.
Yes. Yeah.
Got
Does something
it.
else. Yeah, to just kind of break the
Ah.
things up. And I'm not very good at that. And that's a lesson that I've been learning this year. I went through some pretty dark lows emotionally this year. And I think a lot of it just kind of came out of, man, we're just like spend so much time in this little box that we're in. And there's a whole world out there. So.
Did you write any songs based on those lows?
I actually have written some of the best music of my life this year, like truthfully. And a lot of it does kind of come out of that self-reflectiveness. I will also say a handful of the things that I'm releasing, including what just came out this last week, actually are like happy songs. Like they're moments of joy and like referencing some really good things in my life. And I think, not that that's a low, but I think that's been one of those things where like, man, I really kind of spend a lot of time in the doom and gloom in general. Like I just kind of have that, I don't know. It's my dad had it. My brother has it. Like we're all just kind of a little bit more on the, on the blues side of
You're an emo
of
emo
life. I'm
musician.
an elder
like,
millennial emo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that Taking Back Sunday and Dashboard Confessionals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, can
Yeah,
can we? I know that you announced it on LinkedIn last week, but can you go and can you share with everybody once again, all the listeners, what you just produced? Because your song is incredible. Like I listened to it on repeat this weekend. It really
thanks,
is
man.
beautiful. So tell where can people find it?
I mean, it's on every streaming thing. It's under the band Wild Coast. All of the socials are We Are Wild Coast. So it's Instagram and TikTok and all those places. But the name of the song is called Hold On To Me. And I really, it's actually kind of funny. I'm really good at writing the same song like 100 times. Like I'll have this idea and this moment and I'll write it. And then I'll just kind of go into revision moment. Mickey and I were talking about this. He's, kind of got a producer background. And I think at some point you just need to get it out. And my producer was just like, John, stop. He literally told me, he's like, just stop. Like the chorus is great. It's really simple. It's really singable. It's really sweet. Just put it out. So I did. And I'm really happy with it. It's actually the first song that I've ever produced fully on my own, meaning I recorded and played every instrument on it.
Oh, really?
All of
I
the
didn't know
vocals,
that.
Really?
the drums, the bass,
That's
the piano, the
cool.
little glockenspiel. Yep. 100% myself. And there's pride in that, but there's also like, I really like music as a collective. Like for me, it's about creating with things. And I think there's a push and pull right there, right? Where you're trying to do the best that you can. But also like you just I need to get stuff out. I've been holding on to this stuff for too long. So Hold On To Me. It's called Wild by the band Wild Coast. There's 7 or 8 other songs out there as well. And I've got pretty much a full-length record that's in the process right now that'll be coming out over the next few months.
So then what's the next step with that? Getting the record released?
Yep. Yeah. So, it's getting, the rest of the tracks are kind of in various stages of finish. Most of them just need vocals. Like I just kind of need to really find a space and find time to record those, and they get mixed and mastered and then released. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to kind of take those live. I've got a band, but it's really hard to travel with a band. It's just really expensive and I don't make that much money at it. But I'm trying to figure out how to be a little bit more creative. We're working on maybe some like house shows on the East Coast over the next couple months, and just finding some kind of communal spaces where 30 or 40 folks can come together and listen to me emote with an acoustic guitar. Maybe meet some people. So
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I
but
think
your
we all need
backyard
to go
in New
see
York,
John perform this year.
yeah,
My
Josh,
backyard is sick for
Oh,
a
perfect.
performance. I'll host you.
I love
Come
it.
to the
'Cause
West
then we can
Coast.
just sit in the pool on a float and
I-
listen to your music.
That's a dream of mine, actually. No, some of my favorite shows have been kind of the homey backyards and kind of living room shows where you just meet a whole bunch of people that you've never met before, and you get to kind of share an experience. I've done the big clubs, and I was up in New York, last year and played a pretty rad show at Arlene's Grocery, which is one of my favorite venues. And that's really fun, but you're just so separate from the audience, right? I kind of like having this type of conversation while I'm playing. I want people to ask questions and like, hey, why did you say that? Or what is this about? That type of stuff. So, but anyways.
Love it. I can't wait for your second album, which I think you said it's just going to be a bunch of different covers of Wonderwall.
Yeah. In every style imaginable. The one I'm working on right now is actually Iranian death metal version. I'm using ChatGPT to translate. So
that is
it's
fantastic.
pretty great.
I'm concerned.
I love it.
Okay.
Have you heard of Gent?
Like
It's
Gentile?
it's a style of music. No, DJENT. Never mind. Anyways, one person that listens to this will crack up at that.
I would like
And it's
that
gonna
one
be
person to
Alex.
just message us and let us know who they are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Predictions for
I'll let my brother know.
2024 in the world of customer success. Let's get to it. Let's do it.
Man,
Kristi,
talk
you
about
go.
a non sequitur.
I know.
We're moving away from a full stack CSM.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Like if you haven't already
disagree.
started plans. Okay, great. Let's debate that on another episode of CSMs. No, I think we're going to move away, I think, from a traditional full stack CSM. This means a CSM who's doing everything from new to renew, right? Onboarding, managing the customer relationship, managing all the commercials, education, training, enablement, all of that. I think you're going to see those roles broken out because it's really difficult to scale in a full stack model. What we've seen from so many of our customers and just the market as a whole, teams aren't getting larger, right? We've got to be sustainable. They have to be cost conscious. And so I think that you're not going to see teams throwing a lot of money at adding more heads and going back to this notion of like, do more with less, which I absolutely hate that saying. I think it's got to be smarter with the resources you have. And I think you're going to see people break up some of the responsibilities differently. So I do think there'll be more specialty roles introduced. For example, I think almost all of the customers that I'm talking to right now, if they don't have onboarding enablement broken out, they are working on that. If they don't have a team specifically designing content for training enablement and scaled programs, they're working on that, right? They are considering who should be handling the revenue. Maybe it's not the CSM in this new model, right? Maybe that person can sit in the CS org, which means it's still part of the CS responsibility, but you maybe have somebody who is specifically designated to do that. I'll tell you, I've got CSMs managing renewals and all that commercial stuff right now. And I like to think that they are willing and able to do it. But do I think that this is their best work? No. Do I think that if I had somebody who was skilled and trained in managing commercial conversations and knew how to negotiate and could manage some things differently, could we be driving more revenue for the business? Yeah, I do. So I am considering breaking certain things out. And that's the movement that I'm working towards. But it's what I'm hearing from a lot of our customers as well as folks I've talked to in the space. So that's my first prediction.
I predict the opposite.
I don't want to hear what your prediction is, Mickey, because John is next in my view here. So I'm passing the baton to John, Mickey,
She's
not
seeing
to
a
you.
friendly nod to me. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just gonna add one caveat. I do think that it is based on maturity and state of the market. I think full stack CSMs will still be needed in early stage startups. Obviously, yes. But I think that the move to specialization is actually going to become earlier in the B and the C rounds instead of kind of later in the market when you're a little bit more stability, a little bit more growth options, right? I think right now we're seeing growth with owned accounts are the most important thing for businesses, and specialization is the only way to address that.
Why is that, John? Why and Kristi, why is specialization this division of labor? Why is that so much more efficient?
What is that? Don't half-ass two things, whole ass one. Like it's
I'm here for the whole ass.
I'm here for the whole ass. Like I think as soon as you get into commercial
Depends. Is that your good side?
Well, it always depends. I like both cheeks.
You made me cry, Kristi. Oh my God.
I'm going to use this as an
about an utter derailment. Jesus. Nobody likes one cheek. Whole ass. No, yeah. I do. I think as soon as you get into commercials, and I think as soon as you focus on enablement on both bookends, right? Those are such different strengths needed for a human being. How to negotiate commercials versus how to negotiate, how do you train somebody, right? And I think as soon as if you're really good at both of those things, that middle of the road, that middle of the hamburger, as we call it, just gets forgotten, right? It's just it's a push to renewal or it's a push to enablement. Yeah. And I think as soon as we start specializing that, you're going to be able to touch numbers in a way that you haven't been able to.
And the cool thing about that is that the burger sits between two buns.
Two buns. Unless it's a Big Mac, and then there's a third in there, but we're not ready for that in this society.
No.
And what do you guys think is going to be the trigger for this? Like, what's going to is like I don't know. Is Donna Weber going to be knocking on the door if everybody's saying, okay, churn? Yeah,
churn. Lack of sales, right? Like, where do we start? Right? If you need to drive more revenue from your customer base, the way your customers are probably driving value from your product today is probably not going to cut it.
Yeah.
I see so many organizations that are underutilizing the technologies they've purchased. They're not getting enough value from it. They're consolidating, they're cutting things. And if you need to keep your customers, to grow your customers, you have to take a different approach.
But how do you know? But I guess my question is, yeah, of course, churn. But like, how will leaders know
I have an answer.
that specialization is the answer? Yeah, go ahead, John.
I think it's when CCOs start reporting to CROs, or CCOs are replaced with revenue leaders, either vice presidents or SVPs that do report into the revenue org. I think there are, maturity movements where we have a CCO. There's no disrespect to that title, but I think as soon as you move that alignment either out directly to the CEO or product, which it's been in the past in some states, and moves it back into the revenue org, the focus is going to need to be specialization, because once you have a CSM that's in a revenue org, if they can't forecast, if they can't quantify in the same way that revenue orgs need, then there's going to be a mismatch.
So it's going to come from that. It's going to come from that renewal, that monetization piece of things.
Yep.
And actually that's, yeah, I mean, well said, because I had a CS leader at our dinner in New York City last week. We had a welcome dinner for Kristi Jon, and she said, Josh, my organization is now going to a AM and CSM paired model.
Yep.
And because
we just did this year too.
The CRO is now kind of taking over the purview.
This is
CS
a great opportunity for me
bringing
to cut
it in, and that's
off.
one of the first things that they're doing.
Josh, you're cutting up again.
I guess it comes from that personal place for you too, John.
You're cutting up. You cut up in the middle of that. So
I think the listeners will be able to hear it afterwards. I think it will upload properly. So
okay,
I'm not as concerned with you guys not knowing what I said, as long as our listeners can hear me. They're the ones
so
that
we'll
matter.
be surprised when we listen to the episode.
Yes.
It's the only way I'm going to listen to the episode.
That joke was hilarious.
Oh, that was hilarious.
We'll laugh later.
We'll laugh later.
That's so good. Mickey, I need to know what you have in mind for this next year specifically.
I think you're wrong.
We're going to uninvite Mickey to
fired.
come back in 2024.
That's right. Let the lesson be learned that they don't like people disagreeing with them. So the reason I feel really strongly we're moving away from specialization is the biggest technological shift that we've seen in our lifetime is a generalized artificial intelligence model. So why would we get more specialized when we have more generalized tools in the short term? So what I actually think is that we're going to have CSMs owning smaller and smaller books of business, but across the entirety of the life cycle. So like I could see a sales rep bringing in a CSM pre-sale, and then that CSM owns that account until one of them leaves, regardless of form function, with the support of AI tools to offload a lot of things. Like,
then why would the book of business be smaller, Mickey?
Yeah, why wouldn't they do more? Poking
because
holes.
because thinking deeply.
Yeah. Okay.
Requires.
Okay. Anyway, so
No, Mickey. No, that's good. I do think that, to your point, I do think that we will see smaller books of business because we have a different level of interactions. But I think that is going to be predicated on what revenue owns, not on what capacity a CSM does with or without tools. Does that make sense?
No. Say it again.
I have an AM who's dedicated to 3 companies that sells into 3 brands. Yeah. And that model, the enterprise sales motion, is where our growth is in the industry and all of SaaS. It's what everybody's rushing to, these enterprise level agreements where it's about owned revenue and then the land and expand model, right? So this idea of one CSM having 10 AMs or AEs or GADs or whatever you have, I think that is going to continue to shrink because the opportunities within our companies, we're broadening our product sets. There's more opportunities. There's fewer, there's a consolidation effort going on where people are acquiring and there's mergers and there's acquisitions and more products can do more things, right? So Amazon, for instance, is cutting down on their the vendors that they use as much as they can and doubling down on the relationships that they do have. So instead of going out and finding a new product, they're saying, oh, well, we pay vendor A and they already do B, C, and D. So I'm going to go sell into that model, right? And so we're going to have deeper product suites, like with, complementary products. We have 4 now. We used to only have 1. And we're going to need to be more focused on the basics and the core of what we do as CSMs, and let somebody else handle the renewals, right?
So you're talking
Yeah,
about
that makes
moving more
sense
to
to
a
me.
pod structure, John?
Yep. That's,
Okay. I think that
in the enterprise space, I would
that's
say.
what I was going to say. So I think that works really, and I've built pod structures before. And I think when you are selling to true enterprise, not the cohort of customers that your company has labeled enterprise,
Very different.
very different. I love when I talk to customers and I'm like, oh, tell me about your enterprise customers. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not enterprise. But when you're selling to like GE and these big companies, fine. Yes. Having a pod structure and like going full court press and having a very structured way of approaching growing that account totally makes sense. But for the rest of us who aren't selling to true enterprise, I think the model is going to look very different.
Yeah, John, I'm not fully sold on your idea, in part because I'm going to use my wife's company as an example. They've got like, through merger and acquisition over the last 14 years, they have like 14 product lines with individual CSMs, and it's a nightmare. So I'm just like, from a vendor perspective, I don't want 6 different CSMs for 6.
But that's not what I'm saying.
It depends, though, Mickey. It's who are you selling to, right?
Yeah.
In certain enterprise organizations, whoever buys product A might not be the same user or buyer for product B, right?
Yep.
So in those true models, you're selling within the organization. When I worked with large enterprise companies, I had contracts. I had like multiple contracts in the organization. We had to have full teams on all of them because it was a different buyer, a different persona, different use cases, different metrics. Everything was different. I didn't even work with the same legal and procurement teams.
That's literally, is the problem that we have right now, is because right now we have Amazon is one of our big, key customers.
Right. Small company,
and
Amazon.
Have you heard of them? But like the problem
Women's
that we're
healthcare.
finding, women's healthcare. Yes, absolutely. And shoes.
Which is synonymous.
Zappos,
Zappos,
actually, which they did acquire.
Yeah.
So,
but no, like this is this is validating what I'm saying, Mickey, is that the problem right now is that at my CSMs, the CSMs that manage these accounts, what they're doing is working with product managers, designers, researchers, engineers, marketing, CS people, like CEOs, like all of these people that are so vastly different. And it is requiring a one-size-fits-all approach because it is an individual person managing just a completely different process across all of the boards, right? And if we don't start specializing, then the cracks get wider in all of those individual segments, right? So if we're looking at the pod for product managers, like if we have a the product that product managers use, and we're working with them, we need to know how they speak. And that language is very different than how customer support works.
let's also not forget how hard it is to sell into an enterprise organization.
Man.
Like you can't have a CSM who's doing 100 things a day worry about the strategy that's required for orchestrating a full enterprise motion, right? Like of selling into a large company like that, between all of like the personnel mapping and understanding use cases and finding the buyers, like it's a new sale every time you go and do that.
Well,
That
and half of the job
resources
is managing like the people that change, because these big organizations, every 6 months, it's a completely new organization, right? Half of the job of CSMs within those enterprise is true discovery. Is just making sure that the person that they're talking to is the person still that's going to sign that renewal in the future.
Mickey, you're still not sold, huh? We haven't convinced Mickey.
Well, obviously the guy who's like totally like bought into AI is going to consider AI as a future trend. I don't fault you. I think that you're right. The thing that I will say is, and this is again into specialization, is I think that we as CSMs are going to have to self-segment ourselves. We're going to have to say, I'm a CSM who wants to own renewals. And companies need to be able to communicate that is a part of that job. And ahead of time, right? I mean, this idea that a CSM can be a CSM anywhere, while technically is true, the roles across every organization is so vastly different, and the skills and the requirements that you need, go through any interview cycle, you're going to be doing something vastly different than what you were doing, even if it's a direct competitor in the marketplace. And I'm talking to CSMs every day who are like, I got this great CSM job, but holy shit, I'm an AM, or I'm a support guy. And it's like the same thing, but because there is no understanding that it's like, no, I'm renewal, I'm enablement, I'm this, I'm that, I'm these things, this specialization that we need to define. And it's got to start with leadership. It's got to start with saying our biggest problem right now is X, so we need to deploy Y.
Yeah.
And maybe that's tools. Maybe that's AI, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to find the common ground in all you guys said here. I think all the themes that we saw in 2023 will persist into 2024. How about that?
That's a cop out.
Boo.
Well, I mean, I
Not with
think
the
you're right,
volume
Mickey. I
of
think
churn that I'm hearing
AI
everyone
is only going to
experience.
become
I know,
more and
it's
more
brutal out there.
amplified, right? Like,
we're just gonna have to listen.
Yeah, totally, Josh.
yeah, I know. I'm freezing.
That makes everyone
I get
uncomfortable.
it. I have no RAM on my computer. This is a problem. I think the shockwaves from 2023 though are going to also persist, right? Like, and teams are still are. Yeah, but teams are going to be. But honestly, there's some good things that come out of this, right? So like renewals are really important because like there's no just like monkeying around with only new logos and only growth. Like you have to have sustainable growth, right? And so renewals, and that puts CS at the forefront of that. And then there is more discipline around hiring and the size of teams and what's a necessity. So like I think these things are just going to continue on, and the mindset has shifted in the way that we lead SaaS organizations.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, and I don't think that the headwinds are over. I think the first half of next year we're gonna have more rifts. I think there's gonna be more headcount reductions. I do like. All right, Mickey.
I mean, I actually don't disagree with John.
I mean,
John and I are clearly on the same show.
We're definitely.
I agree.
But I also
it's not over.
No, but I also think, to Josh's point, I think what's going to happen is the thing that should have happened 15 years ago when whatever we're doing today started, is renewal starts the day that the deal closes. Yeah. Like you can't just renew 30, 60, 90 days before the contract.
90 is a magic number, John.
If
if you start at 90, it just works better. Everybody knows
works
this.
better. Yeah, but understanding and teaching your CSMs to focus on renewals from day one, that their job starts the moment that deal closes and it never ends.
I'm hearing a lot of we need to teach CSMs to do more. We need to have more specialization. So when do they learn all these things? Who's teaching them all these things?
The internet.
TikTok.
The internet. TikTok. Yes. I was told that that's where everyone learns everything. News
TikTok.
And everything is on TikTok.
It's called micro learning. You should look it up, Mickey.
Micro learning.
Yeah, apparently instead of like scrolling, we're supposed to have these micro learning moments.
Yeah. Yep. Aha.
Yeah. People have been talking about micro learning for like 10 years. Is it a thing? I don't know.
I think really it's just people with ADHD are like, I got it. And then they move on to the next thing and they're like, oh, cars, great. And then the next thing it's like, I'm playing Zelda. And then the next thing they're like, I'm in a hot tub. And then the next thing you're like, I have to take a nap. And it's called self-care and balance.
Yeah. Well, I learned so much.
Where are those mushrooms, Josh?
I micro-learned all over
I'm microdosing, but...
That's what it... Oh, is that what my dad said microdosing was?
Yes.
Yep.
You microdose learning.
I really think that we should all do mushrooms once and the podcast at the same time.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No,
Josh and I are already there, man.
Don't spoil our secret.
I just want to watch from afar.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we make if we're gonna stick with predictions, can we make like a wild 5-year prediction, or should we go to something else entirely?
Oh.
I have one.
Yes, I mean I don't know.
Let's go for it, Mickey. What do you think?
Let's go, Mickey.
I think before 2030, every product is gonna have.
What year is this? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, within the next 6 years,
I'll be retired. Yeah.
I think every product is going to have a CSM built into it. That's AI. And when you want really deep knowledge, you will get a human. And that's kind of the model I see of, instead of having a bunch of specialized people, just for product lines or models or things like that. CSMs are going to be so integral that they're going to be built into the product.
Interesting.
And when you need more help on a very unique scenario, that's what human CSMs will be there for.
I don't think that we're going to have electricity in 2030. I think we're going to be back with sticks and stones, or sweet, 9-pound baby Jesus is going to come back.
We're
And
your
moving
way of
backwards
saying-
in your predictions. We're moving
Yeah.
that far back.
yeah.
This
Well,
is
that's
his
what they
way
say.
of
You know
saying-
that joke about World War 1, 2, 3, and 4? World War 1 was fought in the trenches. World War
Yep.
2 was in planes. World War 3 will be with nukes. And World War 4 will be with rocks.
Will be with rocks.
Stones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super
No, I
morbid.
mean, I think technology is absolutely going to go into a place that is more automated. I think we're already seeing the creation of software from an automated standpoint, meaning you have a person that can put in a prompt to say, I want an app that does X. I do think that's going to be prevalent. And I think I'm even seeing, I was reading this. So MySpace, the company that we're in at user testing, is like UX.
Oh, I think you meant
design and
actual
research.
MySpace. And I was like, do you know Tom?
It's coming back, baby.
I hope it does.
And it's going to be all your
Isn't it for
songs.
music?
It's all
I
gonna
was
be
like,
my
is it a music
songs.
platform?
Yeah. No,
Wow, is
actually,
this
I think I
podcast
still have a
gonna-
record on there from
Nice.
2005 or whatever. Anyways, no, I do think that there is this idea of self-serve and meeting the customer where they're at from a product standpoint will absolutely be baked into it. We're seeing it with education. We're seeing it with certification, with just finding data through LLMs. I don't know that it's going to be a CSM, but I do think that maybe 10 to 15% of what we do will be taken over by whatever AI.
What parts
overlords
do you think will not be taken over? What 80% do you think will not be taken over, John and Kristi?
I'm gonna like truthfully, like my experience this year of being lonely surrounded by people is proof to me that humans will always need to talk to somebody else when they need help. That I think that there's such a thing as being blocked by frustration or just a lack of knowledge, that no amount of bots or directions or walk-me's or guides can get a human being to find value if they're unable to find it. I think there's a percentage of the population that will be fine and they'll use the tools, but there's going to be those people that need a human being to meet them where they're at and to say, y'all, you're doing it wrong, or you're doing it right, or this is where you need to go, or this is what you need to do. It has to be the strategic deployment of what the human is.
Do you think that CS will decrease in size by 2030?
No, because the market is expanding. I mean, it's like the universe, right? There is just more. Yeah. There are more customers. There are more people. We are a consumeristic society, at least in America. I know that SaaS likes to think that America is the world, but that's not the case. There are new markets opening up. Like as soon as, the stuff that's happening in Africa and in India with connectivity and just the amount of people that are going to be coming into the space that we are selling into is monstrous. And I do think that it will not be decreasing. I think just the sheer number of people that are in this world that have that are going to be building businesses, that are going to be starting companies across the world, are going to be needed in this space as well. And I think that as a force multiplier, absolutely. But I do not think, if you look at how many jobs there are today versus how many jobs there were 20 years ago, it is an increment or exponential.
Yeah, that's
increase.
fine. But even at that's at a global level. You're talking about India and all these other places. But think about here in the U.S. for most people that are listening.
Well, yeah. What if? Let's say AI really, it does what everybody thinks it's going to do, and we produce 10 times the amount of software businesses. Even in my future scenario, you're still going to need a ton more CSMs.
No, but Mickey, what is the thing that, we could get really deep in the weeds on what AI will solve, but AI will absolutely solve the biggest obstacle of expanding internationally, which is language barriers.
Yeah.
We're already seeing LLMs that automatically change you can
real-time
speak.
Transcription is already
real-time
here.
transcription.
Real-time
which
translation
means
is already here.
We are going to be opening up small businesses like yourself that do not have international. We can't hear you.
Who?
Josh is talking. We can't hear him.
No,
I'm not talking.
No, you derailed yourself.
How are those shrooms?
No, you're not. I'm looking at your screen, and your mouth is not moving right now. This is
your
very
mouth
distracting.
is moving, Josh. Your mouth is moving.
Anyways, I just think that more businesses are going to understand that there's a market internationally with these tools that is going to open the doors to them in a way that will, I think, save a lot of businesses that have been locked into only selling into the US and Canada. I think Mexico is going to be an incredible opportunity. I think I think there is just a lot of opportunity for software companies to use these tools in a way that actually is the thing that they're designed to do, right? How do you take large amounts of data and make it accessible for large amounts of people?
Let me ask you a counter to that. Like another side of that is, do you think there'll be a migration of CS jobs to those markets then that are there's lower cost of living?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're already seeing it. I can work internationally across. I can go work in Portugal right now. Like we're already doing it. People are already moving into that, and I think hubs are a big thing. I think we're seeing it with maybe not WeWork, but I mean just the ability to work among people that are doing what you're doing and like-mindedness across the world. Absolutely.
So somebody out there if there's a CSM listening, CSMs listening, you need to go start your local chapter, because I agree with you, John. Like we're already seeing all these macro shifts. Yeah. And by the way, like I'm not reading economic stuff, and like just like these big macro shifts really fascinate me because they're so different than the world that we live in today. And the change doesn't scare me because I do believe like people are fundamentally good. The world is fundamentally good. Like things are going to work out. That's my way of trying to ease the concerns of some people that are like, Mickey thinks that AI is going to replace all our jobs and we're not going to. No, actually quite the opposite. I think it's going to enable us to do way better work, way more.
I was going to say it's going to enhance us to do the work that we were intended to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not do more with less. It's do better with what we have.
Yes.
I think we should leave it on that note.
I love it. This was fun.
Do we want to talk about buns or cheeks though before we wrap it up? I just
anytime, any day.
Is a hot dog?
Just slide into those DMs.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? It has buns.
We'll let everybody noodle on that during the holidays.
Everyone ponder that. Yeah. I want everyone to come back and let us know how they feel about hot dogs.
Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy
Whatever
New Year.
Hanukkah's over.
I'm sorry.
Kwanzaa.
Happy New Year.
I thought it was.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Whatever you
I wish you all a very prosperous, healthy, happy New Year. And we will see everybody.
Prosperous in 2024.
Yeah.
You will.
See you guys in the chats.
Bye, guys.